All right, we've got a soon-to-be, at some point, major champion, a couple top 3 finishes in majors, former PGA Tour Rookie of the Year, Cam Young.
Yeah.
You're going to walk us through the driver. You know, one of the things that is kind of known in your backswing and your tempo is that kind of hitch, and you hold it there at the top. Can you kind of talk us through what that does for your tempo and how an amateur can kind of replicate it in their own swing?
Yeah, for me, it's something that's always kind of been there. And it's not something I really feel unless it gets really extreme. If I start to feel it, then I know that something's wrong. So it, like you said, it really is just kind of a timing thing. It's my tempo. It's what my body wants to do. So it's not something that I necessarily would teach anybody, but I think the idea of kind of finding a tempo that gives you, you know, the feeling that everything is sequenced properly is an important thing. So like for a lot of guys, you know, watching JT or Xander or Nick swing over here, they're a little bit more fluid than I am. Just the transition is a little bit simpler in a sense, just because they don't have that change in tempo. But for me, it feels like that. So that's kind of the important thing for me in that sense.
Awesome. Yeah, can you show it real quick?
Yeah.
This is kind of what it looks like.
Yeah, it's much more pronounced like in a driver than it is in a wedge for whatever reason.
Smoked. Do you have like an internal clock that you trying to replicate each time?
No,
Or is it just feel?
Yeah, it's. I mean, we do it so much. I think it just becomes natural. We all hit so many balls that unless there's something, you know, your tempo can get bad over time, especially if you're focused on some other mechanical things. But for me, I think a lot of it starts it's just from here to here. If I can kind of get that right, both in tempo and position, it really sets up the rest of the golf swing for me. So it just kind of feels like once I get there, I'm just turning up and turning back.
So we had talked about this before. You know, everyone here probably has that itch sometimes to, on a short par 4, you know, try and just grip it and rip it, right? You have the discipline not to do that all the time. You actually said you don't.
Sometimes.
Yeah. You said you like to sometimes use, or more frequently use, like a fairway finder shot.
Yeah.
Can you show us what that fairway finder shot looks like compared to one where you're just full send?
Yeah, so that last one I hit was, that last one I hit there is a pretty normal flight for me, that height. I don't like it to come out super high, but it needs to come out high enough that it still carries, you know, near kind of the optimal range. So I've kind of got two different ones that I'll hit that are a little off speed, different shapes. I'll hit kind of a lower fade sometimes if you know the wind or the hole calls for that. And then I've also got one that I tee basically on the ground that wants to come out right to left. So I'll hit both of those, but I've got really 2 options when it comes to that. Let's see.
Was this one low?
Low, this is fade.
Low fade.
Not really low, but
Low?
not really low though.
No, I'd call it low. Right? Low?
That's low.
And then I've got,
So this is the one where like this is you're
This is-
playing Open Championship.
Yeah,
you're a
correct.
fairway finder.
yeah, yeah.
Sanders over there taking some tips.
I haven't seen this.
Yeah, I don't play late enough on Sundays for you to see this one.
Beauty. Now, what are the discrepancies in yardage there, like versus when you're going full send versus like that and you're taking some off?
Yeah, that probably, especially the low tee one, it's kind of catching it on the bottom of the face on purpose. It's teed low enough that you can't really hit the center. So the ball speed goes down a little bit, the spin goes up, and it carries maybe 20 yards short of a normal one. So I kind of think of that as like a 280 to 285 carry. And because it has so much spin, it tends to stop pretty quick. So it's almost like kind of hitting a 2-wood or a strong 3-wood. But just the shape is really playable, especially in wind. I feel like that right to left bias if I get a left-right wind, but I don't want to start something way left and cut it, I can hit that one instead and kind of start it somewhere more reasonable, and it wants to hold its shape into the wind.
Gotcha. And then last tip, you know, any of my buddies know I'm notorious for showing up late to a tee time and not getting warm up. I think I can just kind of fake my way through 18 holes, and it takes me like eight holes to get warm. Which is awful. Look at my scorecards. Talk us through like a couple tips where, you know, you're coming to the range, you have time to practice as an amateur, and you don't want to have a round-wrecking mistake out here where you rush through, you know, kind of what your warm-up looks like, you know, what you suggest of, you know, what to hit first, and then kind of work your way, you know, through the bag.
Yeah, I mean, I think kind of like JT said earlier, a lot of the warm-up, I think, should revolve around wedges. That's kind of where you get your tempo. That's where you get, you know, your confidence that your strikes are where you want them to be. And then once you get, I think a lot of the, like when you make big numbers, it tends to start off the tee. So the main thing there is having a shot that you can go to, or having, you know, the two options that I have are where I go when I'm uncomfortable. So a lot of it is situational, recognizing a hole or a wind that is uncomfortable to you and being able to revert to something you know you can do. And, you know, the time you spend on the range before a round can be making sure that you have that shot, or realizing, you know, it feels a little different today. This is what I have to do to make that shot happen. And just kind of trying to find your way back to those feels when you get in a situation where you're uncomfortable or you don't like the shot choice that you've made. You can revert to something that you know you can do.
So actually, kind of a second part to that question, do you focus more on your weaknesses than your strengths then on the range?
In some cases,
Yeah.
I mean, I think if you only practice your weaknesses, you'd get worse at the things you're good at. So you can't focus too much on it. I think it's important to practice all things. But I mean, yeah, there are things that I used to really not hit an off-speed driver. I used to kind of just hit them all hard, hit them all right to left. And I've hit a lot more fairways having more than just that one shot. Nice. So I think you do need to practice new things and get better at new things. But at the same time, I don't want to lose the hard draw either. So
exactly,
it's really just a matter of trying to give yourself as many tools as you can and having the one or two things that you know you can do to go back to in a situation that you're uncomfortable or just feel like you just really need to get something in play.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, there you guys have it from three of the best on tour. You guys have any other questions you guys want to fire out their way? Yeah.
On the drive, how do you feel? Are you hitting it at impact? Whereas, are you hitting down or are you hitting up?
It'd be very slightly up.
Thanks.
On the normal one, my angle of attack on like a normal stock driver is going to be in the 2 up range, just because I like the window that comes out of, you know, 9 degrees launch or so. That's just, to my eye, that's what looks right. And I feel like if I start to get more up, I start to go this way, which is going to then make the path go more right and make me hit bigger draws, which just aren't as controllable. And then you get into irons, and if you're still doing that, you're going to hit them fat. You're going to do all kinds of stuff. So for me, that range is where I know, you know, I can make the driver work at that range, and it's also not going to interrupt kind of the motion for an iron.
Awesome. Well, thanks to you guys, all 4 of you, Nick, Xander, JT, Cameron. Thank you guys. Hopefully you guys can put some of this into your game today. So shoot low.